Welcome back to the Big Trios podcast. We're back again with Pokey Hole Stories, the second edition or second episode. And so we're going to continue today again with one of our vacations. This one had quite a few memorable moments. This one included myself, Brown, White, and Skunk. Was there anybody else there, or is it just us four?
That was it, just the four.
Just the four of us, right? So,
yeah.
Okay. So, we'll get into it pretty much right away. So, Brown, why don't you start us off with how this trip kind of all began? I think we got there kind of late on this one, right? We usually like to take that early flight, but I think we got in late, and so we started drinking right away.
The first two trips we got in late, but the second trip, this was the second time I went with you guys after you guys brought me along from the first time. And it was the second trip, so I was all pumped up and shit. Everybody was high off or some shit. So the first night when we got in, we did get in late, so we were forced to just drink up as much as we can to get hammered. And then we still went to the club and did bottle, even though we drank so much. We still did that bottle service, and we met. I remember running into these girls. It was their second last night or something like that, and whatever. We were pretty fucked up, so I was like, whatever. The mission was to try to, I guess, smash as much as you can. So you started on night one and see what you can set up and get. Because we always try to get that. Hopefully, we try to get those girls that are on their last nights, but whatever. Second to last night, that can work too. So I met this girl and we're just fucked up. So we're just messing around inside the club or whatever that. And her and I decided to go and take a walk. And I remember leaving and I'm like, let's just go to the beach. And we didn't even make it to the beach. I think we made it across the street to where the other side of the fucking ocean is. And I was like, I don't even know where we're going anymore. At that point, I was lost. So we walked back and I remember we made out underneath a tree or some shit like that, just outside the club. And I was like, let's just go back to the club because my boys are there and shit like that. And she still had
okay. I was confused who you were talking about. Now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So she so we made out underneath the tree, and then we went back because she still had friends at the club too. So we went back there, whatever. The night we hung out with them and stuff. And then we came outside. I remember we were standing outside the club at the end of the night, on that first night. And then some random guy, I think he was with them. He was a friend. And one of you guys had her friend. I remember, I don't know if it was you, Yellow, or White. I'm not sure. But one of you guys had her friend. And the dude that was with them came up to us. He's like, yo, you guys should probably come back to the hotel because they definitely want to fuck you guys. I remember we looked and we're like, this is just way too fucking easy. We're just going to leave it for another night. We're like, we're going to leave it for tomorrow or something like that. We're not going to.
Yeah, we legitimately punked them because we were so surprised that this happened so quickly. Because we met them we got to the club late too because it was probably past midnight, 1 o'clock already. And then we only met them at maybe an hour before the club closed, and then they wanted to seal the deal. And we were so taken aback that they're just come back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Those my friends are gonna fuck you guys. So they're down. And we looked at each other and it was one of those moments where you're just is this a real life, or is this some sort of dream? Because this doesn't happen this quickly. And I think we were so surprised by it that we didn't know what to react to, and we just said, nah, we're gonna go back and eat. We took food over Pokey.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even think they were the greatest either. They weren't anything that we'd be yo, we're gonna fuck this up. We better do it now. Because I think food, it's funny that food came over as a priority over pussy at that point.
It did. We were mad hungry because we didn't eat shit. We just drank. And we were hungry, and yeah, I remember they weren't that great, but we're like, nah, let's just go get hamburgers. Fucking hungry.
So that was that was night one. Pretty much, we just basically wrote that night off with just eating and just talking about what happened that night. And then the next day, we actually we did our usual shit, but then we ran into these girls. We called them the Lakeshore girls. One was Persian. I don't remember what the other one was, but We ran into these girls and we started chatting them up and started hanging out with them. Now, they were just as equal fun. They just wanted to basically, I guess, fuck around too. One of them just had like a fresh breakup and shit. So you know what was going on there.
They were both freshly broken up.
It was both of them, right?
Yeah, both of them were.
So we went, we did the usual shit. We hang out in the lobby, we drank, we did all that kind of stuff with them. And then we went to the club. So this was night 2. So we went to the club, and we went to the club with them, obviously, because the club was attached to our resort. And when we were inside, those same 2 girls from night 1, or the same group of people from night 1 was there again. And then, so we came with these fresh 2 new girls now. So obviously we want new. So I remember this girl.
And they were way better.
Oh, like way better. So I remember this girl came over now. Night 1 chick came over, and her hair was all braided and shit. I'm like, oh fuck, here comes the woman Sean Paul. And then I was like, and so she was trying to get up all over me and shit like that. But at that point, to be honest with you, I wanted the Persian one, and I was like, yeah. So whatever. I danced on her for a little bit and stuff like that. And then, but I kept going back to the Lakeshore girls. I remember that much. I kept going back. So I guess she got pissed off because I wouldn't like give her attention. I wouldn't like dance or do anything. So she went over to you, Yellow. I remember she went over to you because I was dancing on, I think, Nicole or one of those girls. I can't remember which one it was, but I was dancing on one of them. And she went over to you, and she you should tell your friend that if he doesn't want to talk to me, you should repeat what she said, actually.
No, this is actually what happened, because you came up to me and you're like, yo, man, like, I really don't want to dance with that braided head chick. I'm like, okay, don't dance with her then. And you're like, no, I'm like, it's rude though. I'm like, yeah, but whatever, you're on vacation, like, you'll never see this girl again. And then I'm like, do you want me to tell her? And you're like, yo, man, can you tell her? I'm like, okay, let me handle, like, there's another girl I was talking to inside the club. I'm like, let me handle this girl first, because I don't want to like bounce, because this girl is really high. We called her Fit. And so I'm like, yo, let me just go talk to this girl first so that she knows what I'm doing over with the other girl for a second, because I didn't want to lose her. So I'm like, let me handle this for a few minutes, and then I'm going to go talk to her. So then I finished talking to the girl I wanted to talk to, and I saw the braided head like waddle over, and I was like, she was like, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, what's your friend doing over there with those 2 girls, your friend Brown? And I'm like, oh, you know, like those girls from a resort and stuff. And I'm like, I don't mean to be rude, and I'm just a messenger, so don't shoot the messenger. But he doesn't want to dance with you and nor talk to you. He wants to dance with those girls over there. And she was like, okay. And she was so cheesed, and like she left for like an hour. I went back to the other chick. And right before she was about to leave, I saw like a braid like shoot through my like side view, my like peripheral, and I'm like, fuck, she's coming over. So I saw that hair just whipped through, and she's like, you know what? Like, your friend's a fucking asshole. Like, if he doesn't want to dance with me, tell him to be a man and just tell him to come up to me and say so. And I'm like, there's nothing I can do about this. Why do you go tell him over there right now? Like, I'm busy at the moment, and she just went off in a puff. And I'm like, yo, man, that girl's gonna fucking come back and like poke you in the man pokey hole or whatever that would be. She's fucking cheese, man. This is the games of. Go ahead. The
first 2 trips, I fucking piss girls off, because even the first trip, like those bruck-faced women, I remember you guys were getting annoyed at them because they just kept fucking trying to tag at that point. I remember I think it was the last night, we just kind of wanted to do our own thing, and I got like pissed off. And I think I went over to them and I was like, you guys, because they were like, yo, let's get a bottle, let's share. And I'm like, oh my God, enough of this fucking like coming over and like smothering us. I think it was the last night, we just wanted a guys thing. We just wanted to do our thing. And I was just like, yo, you guys get your own bottle and go over there. We're going to get our own bottle and come here.
That was so cheese. Yo, I didn't want to tell them that shit. And I'm like, I remember me, you, and Wei were in a circle. And we're just like, yo, who's going to do this, man? Like, nobody wants to be rude and shit. And you were fucking hammered, Brown. And you're like, fuck this. I'm going to fucking do it. You guys, we're going to get our own bottle. You fucking guys go over there and get your own bottle. and then you left and went to the bar to get our bottle. We just looked at those girls and we're like, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. See you later.
Well, that was yeah, but it was crazy. The first two trips, there was like no fucks given, like for real.
We didn't give a shit.
There was just too much pussy, like left, right, and center. So you were just kind of not wasting too much time on like one, especially if they were like messing around too much. But that same night, so it was the same second night after that girl got all pissed off and like she went away and shit. I remember I saw this like Russian chick like dancing on the stage by the DJ booth. So we were just like flip-flopping around on the dance floor. That's kind of like what we did. We just roamed around. We didn't give a shit. And I remember I saw this Russian girl dancing. She had like bright ass neon fucking clothing. So like nobody could miss her. But she was smoking, man. Like blonde.
Smoking.
So I remember going up to her and like whatever. I brought her over to us because we had a booth at the time. We were just drinking. So I introduced her to you guys. And at that time we ran out of Coke. So I was like, whatever. Like I brought her over. We usually have a code. Like people know not to really do anything. Like I mean, you'll just talk, you'll say hi, and that's it. But you know that man is like putting in work on that. So I went to go get Coke, and I can't. As I was walking back, all I see is that fucking little short midget skunk moving in, and he's like doing twirls and shit like that, like Spanish twirls, and I'm like, oh my god, what's happening here? I'm like, maybe he's just trying to play Mr. Nice Guy. That's usually what he does. And then I go and I bring the Coke back. By the time we pour our drinks and do our thing, I don't even think he took his drink. He just took her to the dance floor, and just started like fucking dancing on her. I'm like, for real? Like, is this really happening? This man did a full-on snake, and he knew he did it too, because I called him out on it, and he just did that fucking stupid smile on his face.
That smile, you want to punch him in the face when you see it.
And if you know skunk, you know that smile.
Yep. It's a half smirk emoji. Yeah. Like if you see a smirk emoji face, that's the exact face that he gives.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So so whatever. I just let it be. It was at that point, and then I remember we were on the dance floor and we were just kind of chilling. At that point, I was like done for the night because we were still back and forth with those Lakeshore chicks. But then some Elvis Presley music came on. I let somebody else tell the story on that one.
All right. So let's lead into this one. I think this is at the time when everybody started like splitting. So at this point, Brown, I think you found some other random Russian chick that you ended up in a car with. So I'll let you tell that in a second. I think I stayed at the club, and White, he found the next Russian chick.
I was gonna say there seems to be a theme here.
Yeah, there was a theme here. This next Russian chick, and I think this ended up with a taxi involved. So I'm gonna let White take over here. How he approached this. Well, first of all, explain your dance moves on the dance floor together, and then go into that.
Listen, when you got white people music come on, you gotta give the white people dance moves. You gotta get those jazz fingers out, bro.
So White, does that explain why your name is White?
I don't know. I don't know, Brown.
This is next level white music though. This wasn't like I don't know,
like
Miley Cyrus.
All right? This is
This was like Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch. You know
Jailhouse
that of me, that type of shit. I was like, why is this being played here? But White was going off, and I don't know how that Russian chick knew the moves too, because I don't know if this Russian music.
She knew them and wanted to go further. So,
all right, well, why don't you take over?
You should have learned. Maybe you should have learned the moves.
No, thank you. No, thank you. It's all yours.
So after these moves and dancing, it was getting to the end of the night or whatever. So she wanted to go down to the beach. So this club's across the street from the beach. So we started to go that way. And then I hate going to the beach because, like, let's be real, you get sand all up in every crevice known to mankind. It's not my jam. So I tried to make the sneak attack into the resort. And if anybody's ever gone on some all-inclusive vacation, you know that there's wristbands involved. But we had been to this resort numerous times, and the front door security people seemed to know us, so I was able to sneak this girl by the front door guy. He gives you the wink and the nod. He knows what's going down. So we get back to this room, and this girl turns into a fucking monster. I seem to find these girls that they the most fucked up, kinky, fucking random shit. So this girl literally gets on her knees and starts telling me to choke her and shit. She's like, choke me. I want to be choked. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm uncomfortable listening to this.
Yo, it is what it is, bro. You want to know the stories?
You go ahead.
I'm like, oh man. So I try to grab her throat, but I'm like, I'm not. At the same time, you're still trying to keep that stiff on, bro. And she's like, yo, harder. Give it to me harder. Choke me harder. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, so eventually I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? I gotta figure out something else to do. And I just I don't everything. She's pull my hair, hit me.
You're gonna kill her.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yo, this girl wanted to get angry, so she would fight you or something. It was like amping up for a fucking UFC battle. That's what it sounded like, not banging.
And so I got to the point where I was like, man, I can't even do it. I gotta just find a way to finish so I can move on from this. Because I was like, I can't deal with this shit. So I was like, oh, let's we ended up going in the shower, and then she started to get on her knees in there too, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna suck your dick, and I'm like, all right, cool. And then she started to get really aggressive, and then she's like, oh, she took my dick in her hand, and she started hitting herself with it, and I was like, oh my god,
again, another one.
yeah. This girl was the other one I had to do. The trip one I had to do it. This girl took it herself and self-inflicted.
Yo,
nah. Gonna get Pokey in the eye.
I literally wouldn't know what to do at that moment.
I literally
would just be
did
like, what are you
everything in my
doing?
power to keep a fucking boner down. So, I thought whiskey dick was rolling in real soon.
That came quickly. I would have been. I don't think I would have been able to keep it hard, because it would just make me laugh that she was doing that, and I would just be not concentrating on anything else other than laughing at that point.
And it was so hard, and I was like, what the fuck? So I anyways ended up finishing. I was like, all right, we gotta get you out of here. You're not from here. We'll get in shit. And she barely spoke any English. So we walked back up the front of the resort, find the first cab on the street.
What a gentleman.
Yeah. Find a cab, wave it down. Put her in the cab. And she's like, I have no money. I'm like, that's okay. Nor do I. And I hit the top of the cab and I was like, bye. And walked away. To this day, I have no idea where she went from there. She probably had to fucking give that cab driver a blowjob to get back.
Nah, he wouldn't have taken it. He'd have been like, this is too rough. Dude, I'll just drive you home. You scare me.
Yo, man, those Russian people were fucked up.
Holy fuck. That shit's hilarious. So that's a white story, but simultaneously, I'll get into skunk for a second. That Russian chick that he snaked from Brown earlier in the night when Brown went to go get coke, he disappeared off with her, and we're like, okay, well, I guess if he snaked it, at least he's getting it, so it'd be fine. So he went to the beach apparently. He disappeared for an hour, and he came running back to the club, and it was maybe 30 minutes, and his pants were all rolled up and shit, holding his shoes. And he's like, we're like, what the fuck are you? Why are you? That's a universal sign though for when we go on vacation. If you come back with your pants rolled up and holding your shoes, that means you got it in the ocean or on the beach. That's universal. So this guy comes back, he's like, yo, I just put it in her and stuff. We're like really? You were gone for like 30 minutes. Like, it takes like 15 minutes to walk there and then 15 minutes to walk back. You put it in for like 10 seconds. It's like, nah, man, like, put it in nice. And we didn't see the girl back, so we couldn't question her or anything. So she didn't come back to the club. So this guy comes back. He's like, I put it in. And then we're like, at that point, we didn't know Skunk's lying ways. So we just believe him. We're like, oh, mad nice, mad nice. So then apparently, this is all now learned afterwards. But apparently, at that same time when he came back into the club, he started dancing with some girl, which we were like, whatever. But apparently, that same night, he later told us that there was some young some chick from I'm not quite sure where she's from, but like it wasn't a foreign country. It was like somewhere from where he's from, where we're from as well. And he's like, yeah. So I was dancing with this chick, which we saw. We're like, oh yeah, what happened to her that night? He's like, yo, so I put it in right in the club. And we're like, what? What do you mean you put it in the club? She's like, yeah, she's like a virgin and stuff. I took her virginity in the club. We're like, hold on a second. Where did you do this? It's like, you know the very back corner. There's like all the shadows and shit. Like you can't see anything. Or we're like, yeah, kind of. It's like, yeah, so you know the chick that you were talking to, Yellow, the fit one? I'm like, yeah, she guarded me while I plowed the other chick in this dark corner. I'm like, she was with her aunts. We saw her with her aunts. And she's like, yeah, her aunts loved me, so they just told her to go with me to the corner. It's like, and she's like, I can't believe doing that. I'm like, hold on a second. So how did you pound this girl in the club without nobody seeing? It's like, yeah, she just pulled up her skirt. I pulled out my dick. She sat on me like a lap dance, and we plowed. And I'm like, did you bring condoms and stuff? She's like, no, I just inside. It felt so good. And we're like, we're like this. We're like, no. Wait a minute. This does not sound right. Are you being for real? He's like, I'm being for real. So I'm gonna let the audience just have a take on this. Like, we've now known what Skunk says. You think this actually happened, brown and yellow?
No.
Oh, sorry, brown and white. Yo, what kind of like? Yeah. These are just not like, I can't believe that story even came out of his mouth. He took a girl's virginity in a club, lap dance style, while her aunt watched him, and he jizzed inside her because he didn't have condoms.
I think the one at the beach thing didn't work out because I remember her coming back like the next night or whatever like that, and she was like trying to talk to me, and I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm like, you're gonna hit up at the time he was like a friend or whatever, right? You're gonna hit up Skunk or whatever like that, and then try and come and talk to me. But then we made sense of it afterwards. We're like, I don't think anything fucking happened because he was like just trying to ignore her, and it was like nothing even happened. I remember she was like looking for him, and then he was trying to play like ignore. If you slam the chick and she was that hot, of that caliber, you try to go back for it again on another night if you're not getting anything else.
I agree 100. And well, it made sense later. No, you wouldn't. It made sense later because like we said, later on, like that week, we saw her again, and she came up to me and she's like, why is your friend so rude? And we're like, and she was referring to Skunk. And I'm like, I don't know. Why is he being rude? And then she's like, where's your other friend? Meaning you, Brown. I'm like, oh, Brown's with like some other girls. It's like, okay. And then it didn't make sense at the time, but now it makes sense because I bet you they probably just went to the beach like as friends. Brown or Skunk probably tried to get it in. She was like, no. They came back, and then he began being rude to her because there's no other reason for that to happen. Like if she just wanted a one night thing, she wouldn't give a shit what Skunk did afterwards while she was being rude. Right. So it made sense later. It didn't make sense at the time until we thought about it later. We knew Skunk's ways. But also simultaneously, we got Brown's story going on at the same time.
I was gonna say that night seemed to be like a one night in Russia or something like that.
It was.
Everybody was kind of doing their own thing that night. Like you said, we were just kind of separated. We found girls and we were doing whatever. So I found one inside the club and we were just talking, and she came out, and like nothing was really happening inside the club. So she came out, and then I was like, whatever. She was actually really nice, super tall, like a typical Russian, tall, slim, nice body, decent face.
Russian again.
Yeah. And she was outside. I remember she was having a cigarette. Now I don't smoke, but I'm like, whatever it takes at that point to get pussy. I'm like, whatever. I remember I went up to her and I couldn't speak. Well, she could barely speak English, but more than enough. I can't speak fucking loud, but she spoke enough English that I can understand. She can understand me, type of thing. And because apparently she was over at that destination doing some like work stuff, whatever. So I remember asking her for a cigarette, and I took a cigarette from her, and I'm just pretending like I smoking. I'm not even like inhaling or anything. I'm just smoking like a cigar. And like we were just talking, whatever. And then so I was trying to get her to the beach, but she was like, no, my friend is at the club. My friend is, I can't leave my friends. I'm like, fuck, this is gonna be a write-off. So I remember the friend came fucking like running out. It was almost at the end of the night for the club. The friend runs out, comes to the car because we were standing by her car. She drove to the club because I don't know where her resort is or wherever she's staying. And the friend comes running out of the club, and she's just like, she jumps in the backseat of the car, leaves the door open. She's like, get in. And it was a fucking like aggressive, like, get in, man. I don't know if you ever watched some of those shows where it's like you're traveling abroad and you get fucking like snaked and people are like kidnapping you and shit. I felt like at the time I was like drunk too. I wasn't thinking, I was thinking more about pussy than I was thinking about my own safety. But she was like, legitimately,
you could have been sex trafficked like right after literally. That. You could have been kidnapped and then sent across the world to be like a male gigolo.
Could have taken my
reverse sex trafficking.
Yeah, or taking your organs. You didn't know what you're thinking about with the head inside your pants for sure.
At the time, you're not even thinking. You just want to get pussy. And she was so aggressive about it. I just got in. So she was like, get in. I'm like, all right, you don't got to ask twice. I'm coming. So I remember the car. And this car was like the size of a like Toyota Prius. It's so fucking small. So we were scrunched up. So we dropped the friend off. I had no clue, man. I was hammered. So at that time, the buzz was real. It was really kicking in. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like I was losing it. So we went, like, she dropped the friend off, and then we went to like this corner area. I couldn't even tell you where it was. It was by the beach, but it was by like some houses. But there was like a huge like parking spot area under some trees. So she parked there. We got out. We went underneath the tree. We were just kind of chilling and started making out. And I started like fingering her and shit. And then she was so tall. She's like, I can't do it here. But what was even worse is we went back to a car that was like fucking half the size of, maybe even half the size of the palm tree. Like, I don't even know. But so we went back inside the car. She pulled the seat back. She was so tall and the car was so small that I had to leave the door open. Like, I literally leave the door open so her legs can come out of the car. Now, Skunk at that, I didn't have condoms. And I didn't have it at the time. I remember I asked Skunk for one, and like earlier in the room when I was sharing with him, so he gave me one, but he pulled it out of like a fucking Ziploc bag. So
it was one of those sketchy ones. It wasn't name brand.
It was
that variety pack.
It was a condom. It was in its wrapper and everything, but it was in a Ziploc bag. So I don't know why you have to put a condom in a Ziploc bag like that. So I went to go use the thing. I put on the condom, and I'm telling you, man, this thing was like, it was sketchy. It felt weird. Like I'm like, I don't know. So I remember putting it in her, and I'm like, I don't know if I can like do this. Like this seemed really sketchy. Plus, she was uncomfortable. You could tell how she was leaning back in the car. It was so small. To try to have sex comfortably there, it was fucked up. You were literally trying to just jizz as much as you, like, as quick as you can. But it wasn't even happening because you couldn't even move because it was so small. So I remember pulling out. I'm like, I don't trust this fucking condom. This thing feels like it's gonna break. So I pulled it off, but I pulled it off in front of her. I was gonna put it in. I was just gonna be like, I'm done. We'll go get a condom back in the room or something. But I remember I pulled it out and I pulled it off. And she fucking, like, she looked at me and her eyes literally widened up. Like, it was like a light, like a car light and dare lights. Like, it was something out of this world. Like, she thought I was gonna penetrate her like raw. It was like a slow motion. The condom was like stuck in the dick. It was like a slow motion. Like when I was pulling it off, it was like I was doing it on purpose. Like an evil smile, like showing her what the future's gonna be. And she was like, "No!" And it was like a long no with those fucking big, huge eyes, bro. It was like deers and headlights. And I was like, no. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, no, it's okay. So I remember she was just like, oh, tomorrow. Let's meet tomorrow and we'll do it. So at that point, I was just tired. So I was like, fuck it, whatever. We'll meet tomorrow. And I remember actually the next day she was wandering around downstairs because we made plans where we're gonna meet and shit. But like by the beach, I remember telling you guys, I'm like, yo, I'm pretty sure that's her waiting to like meet up because she couldn't get into the resort. I did try to get her in and she couldn't get in. So I think that's how we ended up sort of like on the beach thing.
You didn't have that VIP pass like me.
I didn't have VIP pass at the time. I don't even know if it was up front, but I didn't get. But that shit fucking sketched her out, man. She was like the condom pull off was definitely dramatic. Like,
you can't. She barely spoke any English from what I remember. And what would you think if you were the chick and you saw the guy look at you and pull the condom off while you're banging? No way, no homo, but like, you'd be sketched out too, bro. You're like, what the fuck? This guy's about to like go rugged.
This guy's gonna give me the fucking.
He's trying to make babies and shit.
The good thing with that is at least I know she practiced safe sex.
Oh yeah, there you go. At least it's clean.
It's clean, yeah. She practices safe sex. She doesn't just let anything like go in. So that was, yeah.
That's hilarious. So I remember now. After you were done with her, I guess she dropped you back at the club again because the club was going late tonight. I was still there, and that's when me and you. It was like we were like, it's still early. I was fucking hammered, and we were like, this is still early. Like, let's go like walk about town. And like in this country where we are vacationing, like you're not too scared about like walking around and shit because like nothing's gonna happen to you, like for the most part. So we're like, all right, let's do it. Let's see if we can catch some girls and stuff. So we started walking, and I was just hammered, so I was just like yelling randomness at people, and I think they were probably really scared of me because I was just belligerent. But whatever. I had talked to a girl earlier in the night inside the club, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, this girl was like completely blonde and like North American looking, and for some reason I'm like, yo, you're. He's like, we were talking, we're like gonna go do stuff, and then I'm like, nah. No way. And this time we had just came to this vacation spot just a couple of times. So we were younger and we were sketched out because we didn't know what to expect. So anybody who's local, like a local chick from that country when you went there to vacation, at that time in our minds, any girl that was talking to you that you thought was local was automatically a hooker. Doesn't matter how hot they are, what they look like, they were like automatically a hooker. And I was not about doing hookers or anything like that. So right away, I don't know why I thought this girl was local, and she's like, I'm not local. Like I'm like born like at so and so place. I'm like, nah, yeah, nah. And I walked away, and then I don't know. I was so hammered, I just walked away from her inside the club. And then afterwards, myself and Brown, we were walking. We saw her come out again, and then because we walked past the club again, she was getting into a cab, and now I got a better look because inside the club was dark, and I'm like. Yo, like, what's going on? She's like, are you coming? Like, let's go. I'm like, nah, you're local. She's like, no, I'm speaking perfectly clear English. And then I'm like, nah, locals are hookers. They're all fucking hookers. She's like, oh my God. She went in the car, she left. And then she even drove past me. She's like, look at me. I have blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm not from this country. I'm speaking clear English. Get in the car. Let's go to the beach or whatever. I'm like, nah, you fucking hooker. I cockblocked myself so hard. The next day, I think we saw her at the beach.
Yeah.
No?
She was French. I remember
she was French. She was French as in like French Canadian, like not Canadian, in any way. And she's like, you remember me now? I'm like, yeah, you want to go to the beach now? She's like, no, you told me I'm a fucking hooker, so I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm like, motherfucker.
And she was smoking too. I remember she was with two other girls, and they were all blonde. And they were like smoking hot. I looked at you afterwards like, yo, and you were like fighting me about it. You're like, no, man, they're fucking locals. I'm like, they're not, bro. Like, they're not. Like,
I wasn't there for this, but this is typical yellow drunk behavior. If anybody's hung out with yellow while drinking, this is his typical behavior.
I do. I'm typical of cockblocking myself during these times. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, you saying, Brown?
No, I was saying you were like fighting me in the street about it. You're like, nah, man. And then you would ask me after you're denying me. Then you'd be like, yo, are you serious? Are they actually not? And I'm like, no, man, they're not fucking locals. Like that's why you went on a rampage in the street.
I did. I got angry afterwards. Started yelling at random people. That's why I was belligerent afterwards. Now I recall. Yes, I was angry that I cockblocked myself. Then I got mad at random people for no reason. Luckily, it's a nice country, and everybody just ignored my stupidness. But so I think we got one more pokey hole story during this trip, right? And then that's it for this trip. It was the last night business, and I think it involved Brown.
Yeah, it was
red dress.
Yeah, this is a short one, but it was just the last night. We were just kind of chill. So our last nights are typically you try to pick up what you can pick up because it's the last night. You just want to go for whatever and get what you can. So I remember this girl came in with like two guys, or a guy and a girl, and she walked by, and I tried to like say something to her, and she just completely blew me off. I was like, all right, whatever, fuck it. So then we did our thing for the rest of the night, and then at the end of the night, I went back because she was sitting in the corner where Skunk apparently took that one girl's virginity. So I went thinking that maybe I'll get some luck in that same corner. So I remember going back to her again, and she actually started talking this time. So instead of taking her to the beach, like whatever, we hit it off. We didn't do much in the club. There was not much dancing or stuff. I remember just saying, hey, you wanna go back and just chill? And she was like, yeah. Like there was no second guessing or nothing. She just left her friends and she's like, yeah, let's go. So because she was staying on our resort, we went back to my room, and Skunk and you guys were still at the club doing your thing. So I came back in the room, like we were just laying there. She's telling me how she's like a fucking country singer and all this kind of crap. And I didn't really care. I don't care what you are. You could be famous. But at the time I was like, I just tried to get it back. I'm like, all right, we were on the balcony when she was like trying to sing all this country music and shit to me. So we went back inside the room and, we were just fucking doing it. And she was just laying there. It was like boring sex. It was just pure starfish shit. She was just laying there. And I remember when I was like, I was close to like finishing. She's like, oh, tell me when you're like done so I can be all like dramatic and shit. I'm like, oh my God. Like, that's fucking
What kind of shit is
that? That's automatically a turnoff. Any woman that tells you before you're even like close to like finishing or like anything that's gonna happen, she's like, let me know when you're gonna close to being done so I can be dramatic.
You know what this means? This means Brown didn't take care of the job. She had to fake it.
Yeah.
I don't I'm being selfish, bro. Like I'm not in it.
Brown doesn't know how to make it right.
I don't got that much time. Nice. No, I got no time for that shit. I don't know what it is. Dramatic could be like she could start like twitching and shit, like she has Tourette's in bed. And that shit, like you'd be like, what the fuck's going on? So whatever, we were done and whatever. We were just chilling, and at that point, I was like, all right, this is where you like go, and I'm like, I'll just walk you back. She fucking pulled out a postcard out of her bag with her on there, and the postcard. I still have the postcard somewhere. I don't know. It's at my parents' place or something. But the postcard read "Little Red Dress" because apparently that was her song, her country song. Little Red Dress, and it had her on the front, and then she fucking signed it and gave it to me. It was like, thanks for having sex with me, basically. Here's a fucking postcard. She's from like Sudbury or some shit. She was trying to get me to like come like hang out with her in Sudbury. Like, yeah. At that point, you say yes to everything, is to just try to slam.
You know what's funny is that maybe she's like a singer / porn star, and she like thought you wanted a fan autograph. You never know. She might be like a porn star, and she thought you knew.
Might have to look this chick up.
Yeah, look up the song "Little Red Dress." Maybe you'll find her. I'll
update everybody on the next episode.
Yeah, there you go.
Either that or look up a porn called Little Red Dress, and maybe she shows up.
It'll be like Baby Blues or fucking on like
that softcore shit
on Showcase or something. I don't know.
Well, I guess that's enough of Pokey Hole for today. That was a bunch. I think there's actually a couple more, but we're just running out of time today, so we'll roll it into the next one. Let us know on our Instagram handle, the Big Trio 3. That's number 3. What you think of these Pokey Hole stories, and if you have funny Pokey Hole stories of your own, either amazing feats of getting it or amazing fails like mine with that North American French Canadian chick. where I thought she was local and I just cockblocked myself into oblivion, and then got angry and belligerent at people. So let us know if you have some of those stories. You can share them there if they're funny and whatnot. We'll put them on the podcast. We'll talk about them. There'll be our next episode. We'll of course have further our next vacation, which once again is to the same spot that we went yearly for a while, and there'll be I think the next one's gonna be actually pretty funny. There's a couple of white stories in there where macaroni and cheese comes back. So well, until next time, I am the Big Trio Yellow,
The Big Trio White,
and the Big Trio Brown.